Hi guys, I call this lesson Useful Composition because I want to be honest with you and offer tools that actually work exactly in architectural and interior commercial visualization that you can take and start creating your own pictures. So, let's start with definition. What is composition? Composition is a tool to tell a story. And story is the easy to read purpose of the frame. For example, like here, this picture is about this house. And that's the reason why the shot exists. And everything in this frame helps us to read this house. Here the same. This shot obviously about armchair. And you can use this picture as reference of composition for your own project. Of course, you will explore composition you like. And in some time, you won't need references. But before, you have to explore composition and explore a lot. Look at this one. This is more complex and there are many more objects here, but still clear to read, understood what is the story about, what I as user have to do here. So, story is what this picture about, and composition is just a technical tool for this. That's some kind of hierarchy. Story first, that's the reason of the frame, then composition. It helps us to tell the story using its tools. There is 3 of them. Object position in the frame, light and shade composition, and color composition. Let me show you some important examples. We know that fact that at the end of the project, we have sent to the client a certain number of images. And in each this picture, we will show something from the floor plan. So in fact, we can always divide scene into different zones, and our next goal will be to show each of them in the best possible way. And here you can ask me, Daniel, so I have to build unique lighting for each frame in my project? And I can answer you, it depends. If one single lighting situation can show each area really good and each of your picture will look awesome, you can work with only one lighting for all cameras. But if not, it doesn't matter for the client how many light cams you have to set up. It is important for him to receive exactly the same number of cool pictures that they ordered from you. So, if you can't reach great result with one lighting for all cameras, set another lighting for different cameras, because your goal delivered to a client only good result, and only in this way they will order next project, next and next and next and next. Let's come back to composition tools. There is 3 of them: position of object in the frame, light and shadow composition, and color composition. And yes, they work only together. They have the same goal. Let's take a look at one picture. Main character here, this couch. The main object about which the story is in the center of the frame. That is the most obvious place for main character. That's why it is easy to read. Story about this couch. Then lighting and shadow. Contrast attract a lot of attention. That means we have to make the most intense light and shadow contrast exactly on the couch. Don't try to use some artificial light sources. Just rotate HDRI and find position where lighting give you most intense lighting and shadow contrast exactly on main object. And last one, color composition. Here we have 3 options. First of all, we can make it darker or lighter than everything around. That's how we will separate it. Then we can use saturation. We can make it more saturated or less saturated than everything around. And we can choose different color for main object. For example, yellow environment and blue object. As you understand, all these tools will help separate the dominant to attract more attention to it. That's why we built stage called general theming. That is exactly about object position in frame, light and shadow directed to the main object, and colors which will tell the story clear. And yes, we should tell story in each frame. But that's not so difficult. Just add these thoughts to your mindset and use it. And I hope that's clear that it could be not only one object like chair or couch. It could be some group. For example, table, couch, and a few armchairs around it. It could be pool and sun baths around. And that also could be part of object. For example, part of kitchen island or part of the bed. Just use the same ideas about focus attention with lighting, colors, and object position in the frame. And you will get beautiful looking pictures exactly for architectural and interior visualization. Okay, next. In fact, we can have 3 compositions in one single frame. Composition of the frame, composition of objects, and composition of the decor. Everything we discussed before was about composition of the frame, so that's clear. I just want to focus your attention to the composition of objects and decor composition. To be honest, better to say still lifes in pictures instead of decor. The best advice I can give you, explore references. Go to the websites with furniture and explore how they place their couches, tables, chairs, and armchairs together. Because they spend so much time inventing everything around composition of their furniture. Nobody have more experience in this than inventors and photographers. About decor, please do not add all plates on the table. That's terrible. Use exactly still life ideas. Build still lifes in places where you need to focus viewers' attention. If you don't need to attract attention to some place, do not add some trash. Leave your pictures clear. So, as you already know, composition is a tool to tell the story. So, the first thing we need to do is choose what will be easy to read. And yes, it should be easy to read, easy to fill this space, and easy understand is it good for me or not. So, here is first practical task for you. Choose some story. For example, table in dining room. Open all websites with beautiful interior pictures you know and find the picture that you like most in the world about this specific topic. Find and download so many great pictures only about this as you can. 100, 200, 500. Download them and filter. I mean, keep only the best of the best. Delete the ones which you feel worse than others. If you did everything correctly, then you will get a folder with pictures that you consider the best of the best in all respects about table in a dining room. Exploring different interiors, you will learn that there is not so many unique situations. In fact, approximately about 15. And if you will collect folders with the best of the best references for each of them, you will be ready to work with all possible interior visualization situations. The same with architecture. There is not so much unique situations. Just explore what you really like about some specific situation and do absolutely the same, while you learn that will give you a lot of experience. When you will be experienced artist, you'll be able to do it without references. But now, spend time on learning and exploring. Take world's best experience. That's way better than invent your own ideas about composition. It was advice number 1. Of course, you have to analyze these pictures and you'll definitely find some similarities. Some similar camera position, similar colors, similar lighting, similar style, amount of object, etc. This is very important exercise because based on it, you can conclude which composition are most suitable exactly for you. You'll find your favorite camera position, colors, and lighting types. One more time, please learn composition in the best possible examples of composition. In reality, photographer can't put camera in position you can, because you have clipping, for example, but photographer don't. They have to find another solution to show tiny space, and they will invent nice composition ideas. Explore real photographers' compositions, and you will make your pictures way more natural looking. And explore references not only when you have some project. Find and follow the best architectural and interior photographers in the world and fill yourself with their images every single day. In this case, when your project will start, you already will have ideas you want to provide. Okay, little more practical block. I want to share my rules that I use in my daily work to make my composition cleaner, story easier to read, and of course, reduce time of whole project. First of all, frames. I always create a frame inside my viewport and try to keep the main dominant object inside of it. I do it to save space around my dominant object. This doesn't mean that you need to fill the entry frame with the main character. It's just to remember to leave some free space around it. Number 2. Composition of objects. We have already seen that the dominant may be a composition of objects. Analyzing references I like, I explore how the object assembled into composition and repair similar compositions in my projects. Number 3. Decor. Use word still life instead of decoration. Place still lifes in place where you need extra attention. And do not fill your environment with trash, because that trash will attract attention too. And you don't need this attention. Number 4. Proportions. This is a huge topic about physical relationships. You can compare everything with everything. First of all, proportions of each particular object, I mean height and width. Use proportions from references you like, especially about decor, classical moldings, and furniture parts and shapes. For example, usual mistake. In most cases, bouquet looks way better when it's bigger than vase, way bigger, twice bigger. And in most 3D models, plant way smaller than vases. I don't know why. When you all understand proportions of objects, you can move to proportions between objects. What is higher, couch or drawer? Table or chair back? Number 5. Planimetry. In sense foreground, midground, and background. Of course, in most cases, the main character will be in midground. This tool will make my pictures more artistic. In addition, the most comfortable exposure will be on the main object too. Even if on the background, I'll get overexposure and 2 dark objects on foreground. Number 6. Depth of field. Use it in every frame, but not too intense. Just slightly defocus foreground, just a few pixels. That will absolutely enough to create real photographic effect and focus attention on the mid-ground object. Number 7. Lines. That simple trick helps us direct attention to the main character of the frame. You can find it everywhere, and everything can create these lines. Clouds, airplane, branch, couch, buildings, literally everything. Number 8. Touching composition. Composition is about relationships between objects. That is terrible when objects just touch each other. Way better if they connected or disjointed. The same with frame and, for example, with carpet. Do not align carpet with your frame. Move it inside or outside. So guys, in fact that's all I can call exactly useful composition. As you can see, here is no any information about golden ratio, PowerPoints, rule of thirds or symmetry, because I think that's a little bit useless unfortunately. And we can discuss why some picture looks so amazing, but in reality, I have no idea how to take golden ratio curve and build new interior composition. I mean, maybe it works in fine art sometimes, but if you spend a lot of time building composition regarding a golden ratio, you'll create something. But in reality, when you need to build composition in 10 minutes, I think that is not the best idea. Don't get me wrong, I can't say it's useless at all, but I think we can find more understandable and useful solution. Why I'm fighting for easy to read story? Because people look into pictures just tiny parts of seconds. And to scan some information, that information have to be absolutely transparent. And only in this case, on the second level of scanning your ideas, they will read something really important about your architecture and design. Thank you guys. See you in the next videos.